Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So as some of you know, my dad's a correctional officer, but just a little before I was born, he started getting into real estate as well. And by that I mean he has apartments. He's a landlord. He has a bunch of houses in Plattsburgh. I'm not going to say the number. I'm going to end up saying street names probably because that's how I recognize the house. But yeah, so that's like a side gig that probably makes more money than his main one. But today I'm just going to tell you some stories about some of the flips that my dad did where I helped along. Some of the tenants that we had that were just, what's a good word? Absolutely bonkers. And I don't know, just kind of whatever comes to mind. This video is mostly unscripted, actually. I just have a bunch of notes in front of me as specific stories that I want to tell, but we'll see how this goes. Trying something new. But the first one we can tell is the Crossroads story, is what I'll call it. It's on the Crossroad in Plattsburgh. Actually, people might know where that is. You know what, fuck it, it's on the Crossroad in Plattsburgh. And this house was vacant for like 12 or 15 years. My dad had been trying to buy it from the owner forever before she died. And then she died, and it had been like 12 years. And the family had just been fighting over the will on who could get it, and they fought so long that the house went to foreclosure. So my dad bought it at auction. It was a nice little 2-story house that was, how do we call it, condemned. But he got it for super cheap, so it didn't really matter. The town didn't want us to tear it down and rebuild it, so we replaced every 2x4 one at a time. Whole project took about 1.5 years because it was just my dad, his friend, and me after school and on the weekends. But he gets his house, and on the first day after we finally get it, we get to go inside, and it is just floor to ceiling and trash, and crackheads had broken into it at some point probably. I'm sure people had squatted in there for a while at some point in time. It was in a very bad state of disarray. But the most memorable thing about walking upstairs in that house, because you would walk up the stairs and right to your right was like a little studio style bedroom where it was just a bedroom and a little closet, like all open, and just went downstairs. There's no like door or anything. But it's not really a loft either because it doesn't overlook anything. It's a weird little setup. But we walked up those stairs that I was surprised held me and my father. Turn around the corner, and the bed is just covered in moss. And you look up at the ceiling, and there's a hole. And through this hole is just shining one beam of light right onto this 6-7 inch tree that had started growing in the mattress. It was literally an aspen tree. It was like 7 inches high with like 3 leaves on it. But there was legitimately a tree growing on this mattress in this upstairs apartment. So this house took like 3 weeks just to clear all the trash out because, like I said, it was just the 3 of us, and my dad's friend wasn't there every day, and I was only there most of the time. And I was like 13 or 14, so it wasn't a ridiculous amount of help. But we get this apartment cleared out and start to demo everything inside, ripping everything out. All of the sheetrock, all of the wires, everything. And as we're taking out all the sheetrock, we break down a wall. And inside this wall are just a bunch of 45s. Just like single song records. Hundreds of them. None of them in cases. They're just stacked on like 2x4s in the wall. Anyways, it was disgusting and it took forever to flip. The house was like 6 or 7 inches off level, so we had to jack up the entire house. There was no foundation under it. So we jacked up the entire house, put a foundation down, rebuilt this house 2x4 by 2x4. I say we, it was mostly my father. Another apartment with a few stories is Montcalm. And all 3 of these stories include the upstairs apartment at this place. So this is it's a triplex. So it's got one apartment in the back that's 2 stories, bedroom upstairs, same style as the other one, downstairs, living room, kitchen. And then in the front, there's a small little 1-bedroom apartment downstairs and a weirdly shaped 2-bedroom apartment upstairs. And I say weirdly shaped because the bathroom, like, is just a toilet with no sink. So you have to go in the kitchen. But in the bedroom is the shower and another sink. Not like in a room in the bedroom, just in the bedroom. So it takes a weird person to live there anyways. And I just call this one guy the Black Room Dude because he had lived there for like 11 years and wouldn't let my dad in the apartment for anything. Which my dad didn't really care about. Dude was there for 11 years. It's a pretty good tenant. We knew we were going to have to renovate the place when he left. He finally leaves. We actually had to evict him because he stopped paying his rent. And he left a bunch of stuff behind. And by a bunch of stuff, I mean in the second bedroom, the one without the shower, it is just painted layers thick of black paint. The floors, the walls, and the ceilings. And then on all of the surfaces minus the carpet, yeah, he painted the carpet. When I said floors, I should have mentioned that it was carpet. But he put those sticky glow-in-the-dark stars you have as a kid on all of the walls and the ceiling. But then, to top it off, he filled the entire room, floor to ceiling, with newspapers. Like, stacked on top, like a fire hazard, like stacked on top of each other, like a hoarder type thing, everywhere. And they dated back, like, before the 11 years he had moved in. So he must have brought in a bunch of them here. He just had every newspaper. And conveniently, after he moved out, we renovated the apartment and we rented it to this other guy who was from South Africa and came over here to work for like a year. So his work was paying his lease. He had lived there for like 9 months. And then his company paid an extra month in advance because that was all my dad asked for when they were leaving. But he still was going to take everything out of the deposit that he needed to. So he always takes out your deposit to clean the carpets. It's just his thing. It's like $50. And that's all we were taking out of his deposit, even though there was stains all over the carpet anyways. But we figured the steam cleaner would get it. But in that second bedroom, there was one spot that we knew we couldn't get out. Because it was an iron. Like a clothing iron, like a flattening iron, whatever the fuck you call them. Perfectly imprinted on the carpet. And his argument for not paying the deposit was, I did not use the carpet. He lived there for 9 months and never used the carpet. Every square inch of that apartment, except for the little area with the toilet, is carpet. And then we have one other apartment right near the Walmart in Plattsburgh. I shouldn't have said that. This is a duplex with a nice yard. And they're both 1 bedrooms, I think. Or maybe one's a 2 bedroom. I can't remember. They're not overly huge, but they're not little either. And it's a flat roofed house, which is not something you have in upstate New York. So when there's a heavy snow and then it rains the next day or whatever, so it just adds extra weight to the roof. And we have to go clear the roof off of snow so it doesn't cave in the roof. Not because the house is made bad, just because it wasn't meant to support that much weight. And since it was a flat roof, it wasn't like a shingled roof. We had to tar it. So every 5 or 6 years, me and my dad had to get up there in boots in the sun in the summer, because that's when you want to do it. Obviously, you can't do it in Obviously, you can't do it in the winter. So we'd have to get up there and use like 5-gallon buckets and hoist them up onto the roof and just sit there and put a new layer of tar on this roof. And it was the worst thing in the world. But in one of those apartments, we have another tenant story. So we had this dude that lived there with his wife and a kid, 2 kids. Yeah, there must have been a 2-bedroom one. Yeah, he had a 2-bedroom one. He lived in there with his wife, girlfriend, whatever, their 2 kids. And he was there for like 11 years too. Like his kids weren't even on the lease because my dad only does a year lease and it's month to month, and the kids obviously just never got added, so they were new. But he lived there for like 11 years or something, same thing, and he moved out, and we had to completely renovate it because the dude smoked inside. His refrigerator had apparently stopped working 2 years ago, so we bought a mini fridge instead of having my dad replace it. So it was keeping all his food and stuff in that. So we had to replace the fridge, replaced basically all the appliances. He ruined the stove. Like, this place was just trash. There's holes in the wall, cigarette burns in the carpets. The entire house smelled of smoke. So my dad renovates it, and we rent it out to this young girl. I think she was in college, SUNY Plattsburgh. She moved in on a Friday. She got arrested on Sunday, and we had to re-renovate the apartment. Now, how did this girl destroy the apartment so bad in 72 hours? Well, on Friday night, she must have decided, hey, let's have a couple friends over as like a housewarming thing. And that party went all night into the next day. And then during the next day, they invited 20 to 30 more people. So there was about 50 people in this apartment, and they partied again, and they smashed through the walls, ripped up tiles in the kitchen, like just destroyed this apartment. She ended up getting arrested and obviously losing her deposit. And that was the shortest my dad ever had a tenant. But yeah, those are just a couple more stories that I witnessed as a kid or have heard about. But I don't know if you guys even like this shit, but I think I'm gonna start ending videos with a quote. Don't quote me on that. I'm gonna tell you my favorite quote ever today because it makes me feel better. A man is like a fraction, whose numerator is what he is, and whose denominator is what he thinks of himself. The larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy. But, yeah, just a little something. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, the whole thing, I guess. I love you guys. I watched all the way to the end. So until next time, peace.